For decades, he's been the face of integrity, the everyman we all trust, the absolute heart of Hollywood. Tom Hanks is more than an actor. He's a cultural institution, a figure so universally beloved that we all just call him America's dad. From comedies that feel like a hug to dramas that shake you to your core, his performances didn't just earn him back-to-back Oscars. They secured him a permanent place in our hearts. His characters often represent the best of us: courage, decency, and a moral compass that never seems to waver. We've watched him navigate a world too big for his body, command a lunar mission, back from the brink of disaster, and survive years of isolation on a deserted island. Through it all, the man behind the roles has projected an aura of unshakable stability and warmth, a comforting presence in a turbulent world. But what if that same dedication came at a staggering, lifelong cost? Behind the awards and the accolades lies a heartbreaking truth. For years, Tom Hanks pushed his body to punishing extremes for his art, enduring radical transformations that have left a permanent mark on his health. Now at 69, the tragedy of Tom Hanks is the story of a man who willingly sacrificed his physical well-being for his craft and is now confronting the devastating consequences. It's a story that peels back the curtain of Hollywood stardom to reveal a deeply personal battle, one that weaves together physical suffering, profound family sorrow, and the strange new challenges of a world he helped build. This is the unseen story of a man grappling with a reality far more painful than any role he's ever played. To really get the depth of Tom Hanks's sacrifice, you have to remember the titan he became. His journey to America's dad wasn't overnight. It was built one role at a time, through a career defined by an uncanny ability to connect with audiences. His rise began not with heavy drama, but with a spark of infectious, boyish charm. Indeed, the 80s, he burst onto the scene in films like Splash, where his affable wonder made a romance with a mermaid feel not just plausible, but completely heartfelt. He was the guy you couldn't help but root for. Then came Big. In 1988, Hanks delivered a performance that became the bedrock of his public persona. Playing a 12-year-old boy in a man's body, he navigated the adult world with a guileless innocence that was pure magic. He wasn't just acting, he was tapping into a universal memory of childhood wonder, and in doing so, he cemented his status as a bona fide movie star. The film was a masterclass in comedy and subtle emotion, earning him his first Oscar nomination and proving he was much more than just a charismatic face. Throughout the late 80s and early 90s, Hanks became the undisputed king of the romantic comedy in films like Sleepless in Seattle and You've Got Mail. He and Meg Ryan were the cinematic comfort food for a generation. Yet even in these lighter roles, you could feel a certain gravity to his presence, a hint of the dramatic power waiting to be unleashed. He wasn't just playing characters, he was building a reservoir of public trust. We didn't just like Tom Hanks on screen, we felt like we knew him. The turning point was 1993's Philadelphia. This was the moment Tom Hanks, the beloved comic actor, became Tom Hanks, the serious heavyweight performer. To portray Andrew Beckett, a lawyer battling AIDS, Hanks undertook his first harrowing physical transformation. He lost a shocking 26 pounds, his body becoming frail to authentically show the devastating toll of the illness. The performance was a revelation. He stripped away his comedic persona, leaving behind a raw, courageous, and deeply human portrayal of defiance. He didn't just play a role, he bore witness, forcing audiences to confront a subject many were still unwilling to discuss. That dedication earned him his first Academy Award for Best Actor. He wasn't done. The very next year, he gave us Forrest Gump. As the simple but decent man who stumbles through American history, Hanks somehow captured the soul of a nation. The role required him to be funny, tragic, and heroic, sometimes all in the same scene. His performance was a cinematic miracle, and it earned him his second consecutive Oscar, putting him in the same rare company as Spencer Tracy. Tom Hanks was no longer just a movie star. He was a legend at the absolute peak of his powers. This golden age was defined by his incredible commitment. He'd do anything to inhabit a character. For A League of Their Own, he packed on 30 pounds to play the slovenly manager Jimmy Dugan, For Saving Private Ryan, he endured a grueling boot camp to understand the visceral horror of war. Each role added another layer to the legend. He was the steady astronaut Jim Lovell in Apollo 13 Dow, the empathetic prison guard Paul Edgecombe in The Green Mile, and the voice of childhood for a new generation as Woody in Toy Story. He was building a legacy of decency and dedication, but that dedication was a double-edged sword. With each punishing physical transformation, he was unknowingly chipping away at his own health, setting the stage for a personal struggle that would redefine the rest of his life. The absolute peak of Tom Hanks's physical sacrifice arrived in 2000 with Cast Away. The role of Chuck Noland, a FedEx analyst stranded on a deserted island, demanded a transformation so extreme it's still talked about in Hollywood. To pull it off, the production was split into two parts. First, Hanks gained 50 pounds to play the pudgy middle-aged Noland before the crash. He let himself get doughy and out of shape, embodying a man comfortable in his routine. Then production shut down for a year. During that break, Hanks went on a brutal regimen, dropping a staggering 55 pounds on a diet of basically just fish, vegetables, and water. When filming resumed, he was almost unrecognizable. His body was emaciated, his eyes hollowed out. The physical change was shocking and earned him another Oscar nomination. It was seen as the ultimate act of an artist surrendering to his role. But that masterpiece came with a devastating price. The constant cycle of extreme weight gain and loss had been wreaking havoc on his body for years. Yo-yo dieting put immense strain on his pancreas, the organ that produces insulin to regulate blood sugar. He was, in effect, systematically damaging his body's ability to manage its own chemistry. For years, the warning signs were there. Doctors had noted his high blood sugar numbers since he was 36, a condition known as prediabetes. But in the whirlwind of his career, he's since admitted he was a total idiot about his health. He thought he could manage it by making small changes, like removing the buns from his cheeseburgers, a naive underestimation of the storm brewing inside him. The wake-up call came in 2013. His doctor delivered the news he'd been sidestepping for 2 decades. As Hanks told it on The Late Show with David Letterman, his doctor said, "You know those high blood sugar numbers you've been dealing with since you were 36? Well, you've graduated. You've got type 2 diabetes, young man." The diagnosis was official and irreversible. The years of punishing his body for his art had finally caught up to him. Hanks has been candid that his career was a major factor. While acknowledging a genetic predisposition, he firmly believes the extreme weight fluctuations played a huge part. The diagnosis was a brutal turning point. He has since sworn off any roles that would require such transformations, recognizing that his health has to come first. It was a young man's game, he admitted, and the risks were now simply too high. Living with type 2 diabetes is a daily battle, requiring constant vigilance over diet and exercise. He describes his new routine with his signature wry humor, saying, "I watch what I eat to the point of boredom." While the disease may not be a death sentence, it has fundamentally altered his life. It also means that fleeting public moments, like a shaking hand on stage, can cause a flurry of fan concern online. A reminder that his private battle is now under public scrutiny. The tragedy isn't just the diagnosis, but the bitter irony that the very method that made him an icon is also the source of his greatest physical challenge. While Tom Hanks was building his reputation as America's dad, a symbol of warmth and stability, his own family life was marked by a hidden sorrow. Long before he was an icon, he was a young man navigating love and fatherhood under immense pressure. He married his first wife, actress Susan Dillingham, who used the stage name Samantha Lewis in 1978. At just 21, he was an ambitious but struggling actor. They had 2 children, a son, Colin, and a daughter, Elizabeth, who goes by E.A. Hanks. Hanks has reflected on this time with regret, admitting he was often too preoccupied with his career to be the father he wanted to be, a feeling driven in part by the loneliness of his own fractured childhood. The marriage ended in 1987, but the turmoil that followed stood in stark contrast to the stable life Hanks is now known for with his wife, Rita Wilson. For years, that story remained private. But recently, the silence was broken when E.A. Hanks released her powerful and heartbreaking memoir, The 10, A Memoir of Family and the Open Road. In the book, E.A. paints a harrowing picture of her childhood, living with her mother after the divorce. Samantha Lewis, who tragically passed away from cancer in 2002, was a woman battling profound demons. E.A. describes her mother as emotionally and physically abusive, a woman whose grip on reality was fluid, due to what E.A. believes was undiagnosed bipolar disorder. The memoir details a life of instability and neglect, years filled with confusion, violence, deprivation, and love. She recounts how her mother would push her, shake her, and pull her hair. The home decayed, with the fridge often bare or full of expired food. The situation grew so dire that her mother moved the children from one city to another without telling Tom, who had to track them down after discovering they hadn't been in school for 2 weeks. This traumatic period culminated in E.A. moving to live with her father. For a public figure whose entire brand is built on decency, these revelations could have been devastating. Instead, Hanks has met his daughter's bravery with empathy and public support. E.A. said her father's reaction was validating, telling her, "This is an accurate portrayal of what it was to love and fear this woman." His support gave her the strength to share her story. Hanks has publicly acknowledged their checkered, cracked lives, showing profound grace in the face of painful family history. This family tragedy is compounded by the health battles faced by his wife, Rita Wilson. In 2015, she was diagnosed with breast cancer. After an initial biopsy came back clear, a gut feeling and a friend's advice pushed her to get a second opinion. That decision likely saved her life, as another pathologist found invasive lobular carcinoma. She underwent a double mastectomy with Hanks by her side. Their shared journey through her illness, and later their joint battle with COVID-19, has only solidified their incredible bond. The sorrow of his family's past and the health scares of the present add a deeper layer to the tragedy of Tom Hanks. He's not just an icon with a physical ailment. He's a father and husband who has navigated the depths of family trauma and the fear of loss, all while maintaining a face of strength for the world. In recent years, the challenges facing Tom Hanks have shifted from the personal realms of health and family to the chaotic arena of public opinion and technology. For an actor who spent a lifetime being almost universally beloved, these new battles represent a different kind of tragedy, the loss of control over one's own image in a fractured world. A jarring example came during the Saturday Night Live 50th anniversary special in February 2025. Hanks, a 10-time host, appeared in a sketch that was widely seen as a satirical commentary on the show's own history of problematic humor. However, another sketch in which he reprised his 2016 Black Jeopardy character Doug, a caricature of a Donald Trump supporter, drew immediate and fierce backlash from conservative viewers. What was intended as satire was criticized as a tone-deaf and disgusting portrayal that stereotyped a huge segment of the country. Commentators accused Hanks of fueling division, a shocking turn for a man famous for bringing people together. Even more insidious is Hanks's ongoing fight against the unauthorized use of his likeness through artificial intelligence. As one of the most trusted faces on the planet, his image and voice carry enormous weight, a fact now being exploited by online scammers. He has had to issue multiple public warnings, telling fans about fraudulent ads using an AI version of him to promote everything from dental plans to miracle cures. The violation is deeply personal, especially given his own health struggles. In one stern Instagram post, he wrote, "These ads have been created without my consent, fraudulently and through AI. Do not be fooled. Do not be swindled." This represents a uniquely modern tragedy. An actor's identity is their brand and legacy. To see it digitally hijacked and weaponized against the public's trust, a trust he spent a lifetime building, is a profound violation. He's been aware of this possibility for years, ever since his work on the motion capture film, The Polar Express. But that abstract fear has become a malicious reality. These controversies underscore a painful truth for an icon like Tom Hanks today. The cultural unity he once seemed to represent has been fractured by polarization. And the very technology that powers his industry now poses a direct threat to his identity. It is a tragedy not of the body or the heart, but of the public self, a slow erosion of control over one's own story. The story of Tom Hanks at 69 is so much more complex than the smiling, reassuring face we've known for generations. It's a portrait of a man whose dedication to his art became the source of his chronic suffering. It's the story of a father who, while playing America's dad on screen, was privately navigating the deep, painful wounds of his own family's history. And it's the story of a cultural icon grappling with a modern world where his trusted image can be stolen by technology, and his attempts at humor can land him in the crosshairs of a divided nation. His journey is a powerful reminder of the human cost that can hide behind extraordinary success. The relentless pursuit of perfection that made him a legend also left him with a lifelong health battle. The loving family he has with Rita Wilson was forged through understanding past sorrows and having the resilience to face present crises. Together, his tragedy isn't a simple fall from grace, but a profound struggle against the limitations of the body, the ghosts of the past, and the chaos of the present. Yet through it all, what endures is his quiet resilience. He confronts his diabetes with discipline and humor. He meets his family's painful history with empathy and support. He fights the violation of his digital self with integrity. Tom Hanks remains a figure of profound decency, not because he is untouched by hardship, but precisely because he has faced it and continues to move forward. In his story of struggle and perseverance, we find the most relatable and inspiring role he has ever played. What is your favorite Tom Hanks movie, the one that defines his legacy for you? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And for more in-depth stories about the figures who have shaped our culture, don't forget to subscribe.